Hi there, I am Dr. Bree. I'm a physical therapist and I want to talk today about pelvic health and teaching our little ones. So this is especially for the moms of little kids or caregivers, care providers of any age of little children. So I'm really thinking kids that are 4 and younger for this particular video. I have another video about teaching our teens and young women about pelvic health, but this one is really about normalizing pelvic health from a very young age and starting kids young. Because if we start pelvic health young and just make pelvic health and living a pelvic floor friendly lifestyle normal from an early age, and if we lead by example, it's gonna be so much better for them when they grow up. I mean, how many of you heard anything about your pelvic floor from your mom or your grandma or your care provider? Probably not, right? It's very rare for our generation, but we can make changes for the next generation. So I'm gonna start with some just basic examples and things that you can think about if you care for a young child. And this is all ways we can do this without even talking and educating them about anatomy or anything like that. Not at all. This is just basic ways that we can essentially, again, lead by example. So let's start with potty issues. So the first thing we need to do is, again, leading by example, let our kiddos know that it's not a good idea to strain to go to the bathroom. So one way you can help is, I remember, my child is now 14, but when he was little, I remember feeling rushed to use the bathroom. And oftentimes he was either in the bathroom with me at a very young age, or he was, right outside and I felt like I really needed to hurry. But if we can switch that and let our little ones know that mom needs time to use the bathroom so that she doesn't have to push and strain and rush too much, that really goes a long way. Just make it an expectation that you're gonna take a sufficient amount of time to use the toilet. Of course, we always need to keep our kids safe, so make sure that they're occupied in a safe way, but really let them know that you need time, you won't be rushed, and that they shouldn't have to rush either. So another thing is to let them know not to hold their poo for too long. So potty training is a big topic and definitely not something I'm an expert at. I highly recommend checking out this book by my colleague, Dr. Leah. If you want to check it out, I'm going to put a screenshot of what the book looks like. Check it out. She's got some really great tips from a physical therapist perspective who works with children. But it's really important that they don't hold their poo for too long. Now, bless my mother's heart, I will say that all my growing up life, she always had a thing about not going to the bathroom in public, like not using a public restroom. It's really important from my perspective to not make that a story. If kiddos need to go to the bathroom in public, if you need to go to the bathroom in public, normalize that, make it okay. You can find ways to make sure you feel that the toilet seat is clean or that it's lined, and sit down fully and use the toilet, whether you're peeing or going poop. Make sure that you are sitting fully, you're relaxing, and you're going when you need to go. We want to avoid this issue of holding things for too long, and again, of straining. Speaking of straining, I want to give you some ideas of ways to help with that. So one thing that can be really helpful is having kids use an insert when they're getting started with potty training, an insert in the potty, and also a squatty potty step stool. Now, it doesn't have to be the squatty potty brand, but something where they can put their feet up and elevate their feet a little bit to get in a better position that kind of mimics squatting on the ground like this. In fact, a lot of little kids will squat, but we get them out of that position when we have them start sitting on a toilet, and that position is actually better to actually eliminate effectively. So elevate the feet with a little kid-sized squatty potty, or you use one yourself so you're leading by example. And for those little kids, get an insert so that they don't feel like they're gonna fall into the toilet, okay? Another thing you can do is have them blow as if they're blowing through a straw or blowing bubbles when they go to the bathroom. So anything you can do to help them relax and calm down, to feel safe and supported on the toilet, to feel like they're in a good position, and to breathe and let it out smoothly is going to be really helpful when they're young and into older age. Another thing, of course, is preventing constipation. That's a really, really important thing because constipation is a real pitfall to potty training. So anything you can do to help with their digestion and smooth elimination will help all of this as well. Now, the next big category that I want to talk about is making self-care and pelvic health just a part of the natural conversation. And so this self-care is really for you, mom. It's your self-care, and talk about everybody's pelvic health in the family. So use proper terminology. Go ahead and use terms like penis for a boy, and you can use vulva or vagina for your girls. You use the terminology that is proper. It teaches them that there is no shame in their body parts. There's no shame in using this terminology. Everybody's comfortable with different things, but I highly recommend using the proper terminology. You don't need to go into deep anatomy education with your tiny children, but using the proper terms helps them realize and have ownership over their body from a very young age. And no giggling about it, no secrecy. It's totally normal to have these body parts, just like we have an arm. We have a vulva if we're a girl. We have a vagina. Boys have a penis. You know, it's normal, and we need to make it a normal part of the conversation. Another thing is that if you are dealing with your period, for example, if you are having those types of, if you're having those types of conversations with your kids in a way that is age appropriate, of course, you don't need to go into massive detail, but you don't need to necessarily hide what's going on. I really recommend not hiding what's going on. It's very important from a young age because little kids are absorbing everything they see around them. And so if you are being secretive about what's happening, they're going to feel that it's a shameful process, that it's a bad thing that happens in their body, that it's something to be scared of. And that's going to cause all sorts of issues down the road. Think of if you had a body positive, period positive growing up experience. You probably would have felt a lot better. Maybe you did have a period positive growing up experience, but many of us did not. So change that now. Be open about it. Don't be secretive. Let them know what's going on in an age appropriate way. The next thing is if you're somebody who needs what I call hips up time, where you take breaks during the day. Maybe you have a pelvic floor issue like prolapse or bladder leakage, and maybe you need time to rest your pelvic muscles with your hips up on pillows. Go ahead and do that during the day and have them join you. You can have your little kids join you and let them know, mom needs a break. Mom needs time to rest. Make self-care normal, and it will make it normal for them when they're growing up too. We push too hard as a society, so let them know that it's okay to take a rest. The last thing in this section about making self-care and pelvic health, part of the conversation is to give kids agency over their body and their health. And it's very important to, of course, have respect for our healthcare providers and our doctors, but there is an element of handing over power to other people that we give people in our lives, our kids, from a very young age. Kids are expected to hand over their power to their teachers, to their doctor, to their parents. And there is an element of, again, respect that is needed, but it's also important to let kids know that they need to be able to listen to their body too, and that they have power over what's going on in their body, and they have power over their health. So this is a very big conversation, and it's something that, again, will need to be age appropriate. But there is an element that you can just start thinking of from a very young age of how to give your child agency over his or her body, and let them understand that they have a right to speak up to you or to their doctor or to anyone else about what they're feeling in their body, and they have a right to be heard. It's really important. So start that conversation young and see how you can do that in an age-appropriate way that allows them to feel empowered from a young age. The last broad category I want to talk about is leading by example. So I already talked about hips up time. If you need to take a break for your pelvic floor in the middle of the day and rest with your hips up on pillows, that's leading by example. Another way you can lead by example is using proper body mechanics and posture. Again, your kids will mimic everything you do. So if you're spending all day hunched over your phone like this, your kids are gonna do that too. They're probably gonna, it's probably gonna happen anyway that your kids are gonna spend a lot of time on their phone, but if you can lead by example with decent posture as often as you can remember, that's really, really helpful. The other thing is to move your body. Lead by example by moving throughout the day. Don't just be on your phone when they're at the playground. Move around with them. Even if you're doing your own thing while they're playing, see if you can move your body and stay strong in your own way so you're not just sitting on your phone texting. Really important. Also, the way you eat. Your kids are watching the way you eat. So lead by example by eating clean, moving your body. Also, taking care of your mental health. I love meditating. And when you meditate as a parent and your children see you taking that time to be quiet and still, it really will instill that in them from a young age that that's a normal and good thing to do. It'll also help prevent you from blowing up when you're having a mom moment. I've had plenty of them and I still have them with my 14-year-old. Thank goodness for meditation. Of course, another really simple one for you to do is to lead by example with your body mechanics for lifting. This is something that moms do all day long, is lift their children, especially the real little kids. But if you can show that breathing out when you lift is something that really, really helps your pelvic floor, your pelvic health, by doing it. Now, what you do is you bring your child, if you're lifting your child, close to you, and you can breathe, exhale, breathe onto the top of their head when you're lifting them, like that. Now, that's gonna be putting you in a really great position for your pelvic health. It's using good body mechanics. That exhale with the lift is super healthy for your pelvic floor and your core. It helps support your spine, your back, and prevent a buildup of downward pressure on your pelvic floor muscles. So the exhaling before or as you're lifting is helpful, and your kids will like it. My son used to love it when I'd blow on the top of his head when I lifted him. And it helped him understand, even though I wasn't teaching him or explaining anything to him, it helped him understand that you exhale, that you breathe out when you lift, and that's a healthy way to lift. So little things like that where you're leading by example and you're not even verbally teaching them anything, but they'll get it in their head and their body memory, even if they don't even realize it. They're really important and they add up. So to recap, we are normalizing pelvic health. We're teaching them young about proper pottying, proper toilet habits. We're teaching them not to hold their pee or their poop, not to strain on the toilet, to feel safe and supported on the toilet, to blow, exhale, and relax when they're going to the bathroom. We're teaching them to make self-care a priority and a part of the daily conversation about what's going on with your body parts. We're teaching them by leading by example, by eating clean, moving our bodies, and taking a pause now and then, meditating, being calm. All of that helps our mental health, our overall health, and our pelvic health. So I hope this helps. Teach little kids young, not by verbally yapping and giving them information that's not going to stick, but by giving them these little real life examples and cues. It's going to go a long way toward keeping their pelvic floor healthy for life. So thank you so much for watching. Please share this with another mother or father or care provider that you know that is working with little kids right now. I think this can really help so many people far into the future if they learn young. Thank you for your time and attention. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. It helps get the content in front of more eyes. And until next time, remember to eat clean, move every day, and you will shine brighter. For more ways to work with me, check the video description, and I'll see you next time.